Shepard has proven the master of short tracks, no matter which car you stick him in. Round one's race at Stafford wasn't a complete rout by the multi-time champion, but he certainly handled the tires better than all other drivers in the field. But while last week saw a flat track with no cautions, the high banking and incredible speeds of Five Flags could prove more difficult to keep clean. We'll see if the good behavior keeps up as we get ready to watch round 2 of the Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series presented by the Cruise Shop. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Young. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Five Flags tends to see plenty of action here in winter, with it being the home of the Snowball Derby. But to learn more about what makes this place unique, let's head down to the track guide.
Welcome to Five Flags. This half-mile paved oval opened in 1953. Five Flags Speedway takes its name from its proximity to Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida is known as the city of Five Flags, which references the fact that it is 5 governments that have ruled the city. Five Flags is one of the fastest short tracks in America, thanks in part to its 15 degrees of banking and the wide turns that give the track a nearly circular configuration. You never have a chance to rest at Five Flags with the speeds that you carry and the close quarters that you always find yourself in. Five Flags is also very bumpy. Managing the bumps is one of the keys to victory here. Turn 1 is tricky. You carry a lot of momentum off of turn 4, and you have to try to roll the car down and get down into the corner. And the fastest way around the track is about 4 inches away from that pit wall. Things happen fast at Five Flags, most of the lap times averaging around the 16-second mark. Fast track, fast cars, amazing action. All of these are what Five Flags is known for, and just the type of racing that you are going to see today. So stay tuned, buckle in, and enjoy the race.
There you see some of the views around here, at least when the sun is still shining, but we're going to race at night, as is tradition here with a short track premiere series. Adam, this is going to be a whole different beast from what we had at Stafford last week.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be able to carry a lot more momentum into the corners. It's just faster in general. And those 15 degrees of banking, you're definitely going to be able to feel the difference here. Still half mile in length, though, so at least, you know, that's somewhat similar. But other than that, that's the pretty much the only similarity that you'll have here at Five Flags. It's going to be an interesting race. We'll see if JR is able to exert his dominance here today.
And, of course, as always, this series is brought to you by the Cruise Shop. The Cruise Shop has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today. It's 260-755-6125 or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. Now, I do believe we have one of our drivers ready to talk to us. Brad Speidel is waiting to come and give a little bit of a chat. Brad, welcome to the booth. Glad to have you back in the series, but switching cars, it seems like you haven't missed much because you certainly had pace last week.
Yeah, car doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't seem to either you or JR. Now, I see that you've got the 5S on your car, and we were talking a little bit about that on the broadcast, how that's sort of a short track thing to try and differentiate drivers who wind up in the same number. Is that just for your last name, or does that have any special significance?
It's for my last name. I mean, I run other series, and people like to run the 5, so I put the S on the end of it.
Awesome stuff. Well, after last week, we were talking about how this is going to be pretty different with quite a bit higher banking around this track and a lot less of straightaway to deal with. How do you think that's going to affect the racing out there?
I'm not sure. I mean, I really don't like the circle type of tracks. I like having more of a straightaway to it, so it's going to hinder me, if anything.
Well, we'll definitely look out for you out there. What's your goal in the end on this one? Do you have any particular spot that you're trying to aim for?
Yeah, I'm trying to make a long setup run type of car. Slowed down the steering ratio and a little bit more brake, rear brake.
All right, well, we'll watch out for your runs then, depending on how long the greens we get, and best of luck in the race.
Thank you.
That was Brad Speidel, who obviously racing in the number 5 machine out there today once again. J.R. Shepard currently leading the pace here in the warm-up, Adam. And the temperatures, as you'd expect with it being late at night, is looking pretty ideal.
Yeah, nice cool night here, 67 degrees with the track temperature still at about 73, but of course that will fall over the next little bit. Well, I shouldn't say fall, it's going to gradually drop with the way that the heat, the surface retains heat nowadays. But bigger story on that's going to be, we talked a lot about last week with the tires and the new tire model and all that. With the track temperature and the air temperature this cool, how many laps are those tires going to need to warm up?
Yeah, that's a good question, because we saw it took a little bit last week. Granted, they didn't get any chance to take a break during the race at any point. And Jeff, I know you've got some experience here on the ovals. We've got Jeffrey Smith down in the pits as our pit reporter today. Even though there are no scheduled stops for fuel or tires, Jeff, obviously they got to keep it out of the wall. So, I mean, what are you feeling since we had no cautions last week? Do you think we can repeat that here?
I think it's going to be really, really tough. This new tire model here is absolutely atrocious. The colder track might help a little bit, but I think they're going to be burning them up on the long run. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on things. And one thing that we hadn't mentioned last week is the season works its way through. When we get to Martinsville, we're going to be holding a special championship all year long here in the Bootleg Racing League. They are going to give points to the drivers who finish within the top 5 at both Martinsville and North Wilkesboro once we get that here on iRacing. Basically, they'll start implementing that as soon as it's released and add it to the schedule. They're calling it the 2020 Moonshiner Challenge, and it'll take all 4 seasons into account here in the Grand National Series. So something to fight for in there. The drivers getting a little bit of tradition here, Adam, in the series to try and prove their worth.
Yeah, I mean, so always up for something a little bit different, and I like kind of the kind of harking back to the old days of NASCAR. You know how NASCAR originated and all that with the moonshine runners and the hills and going through Tennessee and some great history and some awesome stuff that they can do with that. So that'll be interesting out there.
Let's take a look at the championship now that we've got the one race done last week at Stafford. Pulling up the points here, it is, of course, J.R. Shepard with his victory, leading by 2 points over James Lowe. Kibbe, Shinosky, and Speidel round out the field. Speidel having fallen back a little bit after showing to have quite a bit of pace early on in the run. Sounds like he's going to try and improve that this week, of course. What about the race details here, Adam? We've always got viewers who haven't watched before.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and pull those up. Of course, this is the second race of the season. We are going to go 100 laps around here. I should say 100 laps or an hour, whichever comes first. No tires are allowed. They do get one fast repair just in case something happens. But, you know, last week we went caution-free the entire way. So we'll see if that happens tonight. And, of course, no qualifying. They're just going to take the running order of the previous race and going to invert the top 8 and have at it, boys. So that means J.R. Shepard, instead of starting on the pole like he did last week, he's going to have some traffic to get through here tonight.
Yeah, and he won't be able to start off on the pole and be able to romp away quite the way that he did last week. As we see them continue to put these warm-up laps in, only 16-second laps, just under 17 seconds, honestly, that we're seeing out here that the drivers are able to run. You can see they've got that pit wall right down at both the exit of 4 and the entry of 1 as well. So it's going to get narrow, even though it's a relatively wide track, and we could see some issues depending on if drivers clip that wall in either spot.
Yeah, and I've seen it a few times in practice here today where guys have kind of gotten into that inside pit wall, especially going through 1 and 2. Just a little bit, but I mean, if you're running side by side with somebody, say it's toward the end of the race, you're running really close, you nudge that just ever so slightly, you get up into the other guy and cause an incident. So obviously we don't want that to happen, but it's a possibility we'll keep keeping our eye on.
So looking through our field to see who else has been faring well. Lowe has gone up to the top spot here in the warm-up. Brian Dean looking pretty handy in the number 23. Of course, we've got one, looks like we got both of the Shinoskis here. Tim faring a lot better than his brother Matt. Matt's actually the slowest in the field of 18 cars for the moment. But Tim is currently riding in P5. Again, you can't always put too much weight on the warm-up, but certainly gives us an idea of the general position that drivers should at least be close to. Got just about less than 2 minutes left, and then we'll go racing for 100 laps around this track. One thing that I tend to hear drivers talk a lot about at this place, Jeff, is the darkness of this track. Does it really affect the cars and the drivers that much here, especially in iRacing?
I've run a few here at night, and it gets terribly hard to see, and you just got to kind of feel your way around and hope that you don't get too much of it coming out of 4 and stay away from that wall, and you'll be good to go.
You can see the backstretch. Oh, as there's Speidel having some problems on the front stretch coming around. I have to confess, I did a few of the laps here, Adam, in the K&N car for that track guide that we did, and the car gets a little bit slippery off those corners, it seems.
It does. I mean, I'll admit, I did the same thing really quickly right before we went on broadcast. I mean, probably not as extensively as you. I didn't even have a chance to get the tires warmed up. But yeah, especially 4. I think 4 is going to be real tricky. And, of course, it would be the trickiest where the track's the narrowest, with the pit wall and everything else right there. So it'll be interesting to see, especially in the first couple laps of the race before the tires are able to get up to temperature.
30 more seconds to go. And that's one reason I suspect we're seeing some drivers do this warm-up, is to try and maybe feel out those tires and see how their sets are dealing with the tire temperatures, since it will be pretty similar once they grid up. Just a little bit more to go. If you missed... well, I guess unless you were watching on iRacing, you probably did miss the modified race that they held just before this one. That was won by J.R. Shepard here this evening, so he hasn't lost a bit of his skill and speed in that car, and is certainly showing no signs of stopping. All right, we've got the warm-up over, and we are ready to head to the grid. Let's go through our starting order. Bruce Pearson, as we mentioned last week, finished in 8th, so he's back up at the top. Ruben Altice will be starting in 2nd. Brian Dean will be P3. The outside of row 2 has Brad Speidel there in 4th. Tim Shinoski starts P5 with James Lowe in 6th. Then you've got J.R. Shepard up to 7th. Obviously, we're missing a car from last week as he gets bumped up one spot. Mike Holloway in P8. In 9th, it'll be Joe Segala, and rounding out the top 10, it's Robbie Robinson.
Then going back to 11th, you'll find Austin Belke. Jeffrey Harden will be sharing row 6 with him. Row 7 is going to go to Lowell Jewell and Todd Liston. Jason Menda and Mike Allen will make up row 9. And then Donnie Moore and Matt Shinoski starting at the tail end of the field in row 9. We're at 18 guys on the grid, it looks like, here this evening.
And already they're all out there, so we should get the... Yep, there they go. And pace car takes off to lead them away for 2 pace laps here. It is 2 pace laps this time, Adam, so we know exactly how far they're running.
You know, you're going to give me a hard time about that for a while, aren't you? Yeah, you're going to let me live that. Hey, it's been a full week, Joe, and you haven't forgotten that yet.
I was going to say, you're not the only one, so don't feel too bad. We've had a number of commentators fall victim to that the lights aren't on here on the initial pace laps.
It's like I saw the lights off, and I thought it was a change that they had made.
Yeah, it's a natural reaction, yeah. So I don't blame you. Yeah, here we go as we get ready to start warm-up lap number 2 Mustang's going to release them pretty soon. What kind of run through will we see from Shepard on the new tire model? He hasn't had to fight through the field on this new tire model yet to try and work his way up to the front, at least on this car. So will that 98 be able to have anything left once he gets, if he can get up to the front, even, I should say. I shouldn't say it's such a sure thing quite yet. We know he's fast, but we still have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Bruce Pearson up on the pole, sees the clear track in front of him now, waits to get on the loud pedal. Green flag is out. He accelerates away. Oh, but he has a false start.
Missed a shift.
Oh, no, and that's already going to cause a big accident into turn one. A lot of junk out there. Didn't even get to cross the line before we got a caution here on this one. They do have a fast repair. But, oh, boy, Adam, this is not the way they wanted things to kick off.
Lots of guys have damage, including J.R. Shepard. I don't think J.R. Shepard's going to have any choice here but to go take his fast repair. He has been up in the front and the back and surely has some sort of suspension damage.
We're watching the replay. There's Pearson getting run into from behind. As soon as you said it, I thought that's what happened there, is the Mission 22 car just didn't quite get the clutch right there.
I mean, he really had a great jump. I mean, I thought he was going to be able to even clear just clear everything going into turn 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden just dramatically slowed.
I'm waiting to see if we're going to get anybody down pit lane, and I see Tim Shinosky actually going slow, but he hasn't come into the pits, so not sure what the 07 is doing here.
I honestly think his engine blew. I'm going back and I'm listening here, Joe.
No, he's accelerating.
Oh, yeah, not quite sure what happened there then. Oh, I bet the pace car, he had to wait for the pace car to come around to where he was at when everything happened.
Oh, we got a couple takers in.
Robinson, Menda.
Jeff, I see that they're heading down to you. What's the damage look like on them?
It looks like J.R. Shepard and Joe Segala got probably the worst of it. It looks like maybe the 96 might have gotten a little bit of damage up there, but getting it done early, it's risky, but get it done and get it out of the way, and let's go racing.
Looks like Shepard's not going to elect to take his spare car. Minda did. Robinson did as well.
Jeffrey Harden's pretty tore up as well, and he actually looks fairly similar to J.R. Shepard. I'm honestly, Joe, I'm actually surprised that they're both not coming in, especially with as tore up as J.R. Shepard is. I figure he'd have some sort of other damage than just body work. So we'll see what kind of pace he has once we go back to green, and maybe that's what he wants to try too, just to kind of feel things out.
I mean, maybe he's been watching Little Train over in the major series. He's just holding on to that spare car. Of course, lights are still on the pace car. This is a long caution that we've got going.
It's because Shinosky ended up going a lap down and all that. So you're already having that extra pace lap because you got to open the pit road for the lap vehicle, and so that's the reason why. I mean, first caution of the race on lap 1, where we're dealing with the lap down vehicle just because of where he was at when the caution came out.
He is ahead of the leader, so I expect he's going to get waved around once the lights go out, which should be this time, I would hope.
There they go.
Yes, indeed. All right. So the 07 gets back on the lead lap at the tail of the train as we start to go double file. It is going to be Ruben Altice, though, who will lead the way. Speidel managed to get up into second in all that mess. Pearson actually wound up in third with James Lowe in fourth place. So there's your front two rows. Here's hoping that we get Pearson getting a little bit smoother shifts to get all the way up to fourth as the pace car peels in. Altice going a lot quicker. Green flag is out. Big jump over second place. Brad Speidel already has the Mission 22 car down below him. Bruce Pearson trying to get back into position here after a horrible first start. Still side by side for that second place is down behind them. James Lowe starting to duck underneath Speidel, and Lowe actually might even get third here.
Yeah, big move there from Lowe. In fact, Lowe's hunting second. Bruce Pearson's getting caught on the outside there through 1 and 2. has James Lowe on the inside of him. James Lowe's just got to hold it down. Right now, I think that outside line, accident in front straight away.
That is Jeffrey Harden.
Ooh.
Number 44. This is all on his own. Nobody hit him. Nobody touched him. It's going to go for a spin cycle, unfortunately.
Apparently the 96 went around there as well. That's Bruce Pearson.
I'm not sure what happened there. Jeff managed to catch it from inside the pits. Jeff, what exactly happened to him?
It looks like he just might have slowed down a little bit too much, and everybody else didn't check up in time. He just went around. He should be okay. It looks like he might have caught the corner just right.
We're watching Jeffrey Harden here off of turn 4, spins those rear tires and takes a hard slam there. We are seeing Bruce Pearson come in as well. Checking to see if he actually hit the wall. Yes, he did.
Yeah, he slapped it pretty good. I mean, that was actually kind of more at speed and at an angle too. So he definitely probably doesn't feel exactly right. Do see Jeffrey Harden taking that spare car and Shinosky as well.
And same thing with Pearson as it pops back into place. Not too surprised at that. The way that Pearson was dropping back, though, it's kind of a moot point now since he took the spare car at him, but I almost wonder if maybe he had some damage from that big hit he got to the back of it, the way that he dropped away so fast.
Yeah, he really did. I mean, and something definitely wasn't right there initially. I mean, and he just didn't look very stable right off the line, especially when he got caught on the high side. And really, I was actually, even though he didn't look that stable, I was kind of impressed with how well the high side was starting to work. Like he was losing time, but he wasn't losing a lot. Some of the guys might be an option later in the race. It might be something we'll have to see if it starts to try to come in.
All right, well, we'll get some green flag racing here in just a moment as they go 2 wide once again. It's Altice, Lowe, Speidel, and Holloway is now up into third. We were wondering about our multi-time champion, J.R. Shepard. Well, he's already climbed up to 9th, so he's about halfway through the field despite the damage on his car. He's not being slowed down too much, it seems. Pace car is in, and Ruben Altice gets another decent jump, not quite as good as last time. James Lowe up on the high side, has a clear track below. He gets down there to the bottom. Speidel, and Holloway got a big shakeup from behind. That causes a checkup. Everybody back there, concertinas together, and somehow they avoid a caution.
Yeah, just looking at those guys, it's definitely some guys thinking about trying some different lines here, but most right on the bottom. Matt Shinosky going a little bit on the high side there, especially through 1 and 2, trying to hold off right now the likes of Belke, Segala, Mike Allen's back there, and they're J.R. Shepard's just looking for a way between Allen and Segala. He's going to get past Allen. Now has the sights set on Segala.
Yep, he's sandwiched between Segala and Liston. Actually, Allen just fallen way back.
Segala and J.R. Shepard, those are two beat-up looking race cars for lap 18.
Let's head up to 4th place because Ruben Altice is under threat from Brian Dean. The 23 manages to get underneath. Remember, we mentioned he was fast in the warm-up, and that gets him into 4th now. So the 23 sets his sights now on Holloway for the podium.
James Lowe got the lead from Ruben Altice just a little while ago. You see him going purple there, fastest lap of the race so far. Keep in mind, I mean, for a good part of the race last week, he was at least kind of equal to what J.R. Shepard was able to put down before kind of falling off late. And tonight, I mean, he was running pretty close to his times in practice again. So if this thing goes caution-free the rest of the way, he's going to have a pretty decent shot at this thing here tonight.
Meanwhile, Belke is on the outside line. He's already fallen to 10th. Everybody's just freight training him at this point. High line has definitely not come in. Tim Shinosky gets to his inside. Belke falls to 12th. He goes way up high out into the gray stuff. More drivers slip through. That's Segala and Menda. He's got to find an opening, and soon.
Yeah, he's leading spots right now. You know, and that's going to be tough for him. J.R. Shepard, though, still pushing his way through the field. He's taken 6 now from Matt Shinoski.
Wow, I cannot believe he's got speed in that car. And there's a bit of a battle behind Shepard. Shinoski and Liston going side by side. Coming off the corner, Liston having to catch it as the car gets loose. Meanwhile, Shinoski falls back, discovering the same thing that Belke did. The high line just does not work. We're only on 2 cautions so far, 25 laps in if you're just joining us. And there was a big wreck at the very start and then a single car incident after that. That's why we've got a lot of beat up cars, but still some of them aren't really being slowed down. Speidel continues to drop away from James Lowe. Ever since he took the lead away, the 99 is stretched up to 1.2 second lead. Holloway's found his feet. I think these tires have really come in for the 31 here, Adam, because he's been pressurizing the 5 for a while.
Pressurizing. I like it. Pressuring would work, but pressurizing, I like it, Joe. that pretty much nails it. And I think that's what you're going to see a lot of here today is, you know, if you can't get a pass done, you can't get your nose in, stay close to the guy, put pressure on him, try to make him slip up just a little bit, because it's easy to overshoot your braking, even by just a touch, like Speidel just did. You see kind of how he just kind of entered like almost like a half lane higher than what he was planning on. I don't think he hit his braking point exactly right. So just got to put a little pressure on him and or pressurize him and hope he makes a mistake.
That's my Waltripism. That's my excuse. JR.
That's right. Blame Darrell Walt. He's retired now. You can't blame him.
Meanwhile, J.R. Shepard is plugged up behind Ruben Altice. Look at the train that is going here. There's just a ton of cars all waiting to try and get by the number 11. And I think the floodgates are about to open because the 98 gets down underneath him, down through 3 and 4. Is this about to be where Ruben Altice sees everybody get by? Because now that he's on the high line, it's very difficult to try and stop the momentum.
It is, and that's how he lost the lead there initially. Granted, you know, he started this last restart in the lead of this race, and now he looks like he's going to be falling down here to almost the 9th position with Tim Shinoski hunting him down here too, trying to get a look, but he's going to start to shut the door. So now we're going to watch to see how long it takes J.R. Shepard to catch up to the back of Brian Dean. Right now, Brian Dean has a straightaway lead on him.
Yep, and we're just about a third of the way into the race at this point. Shepard, not only with his 7th place grid spot, but also his setback with the initial accident, has climbed up to 5th. I have to wonder, too, with that damage, it's not just slowing the car, but does that potentially maybe eat up his tires quicker if it's not handling right?
Yeah, I mean, especially if the toe's wrong or knock the camber out of it, there's lots of things that could go on that could eat up those tires real fast. I mean, I've seen it before where you get a little bit of damage on the car and it makes it faster because all of a sudden it's handling like a dream and everything else. But then you quickly realize the damage that's done in about 10 laps and suddenly everything falls apart because the tires are completely gone.
The candle that burns twice as bright, I suppose. Ruben Altice here we see on screen side by side with Tim Shinoski down on the low side trying to get that 9th place away. Right now the driver in the magic number 8 position is Liston. He would be regrid if things finished now on the pole.
Yeah, Altice continues to bleed spots away. I just don't think the handling is there on that car. Speaking of gaining spots, Donnie Moore was just able to pick up 6th position there from Low Jewel. So move him up just a few there. Todd Liston had to fall back to 2, though.
Yeah, Moore was grid in 17th, mind you. So he's gained, let's see, that's 11 spots in this race. That's quite a climb there for the 26.
Well, that's because you got that old school Bill Elliott paint scheme on the thing.
Absolutely.
That's right. Wild Bill from Dawsonville. Why not?
Yep. Made comment on that just before we went live that I was very much appreciating that. So wonder, and you know, usually he and J.R. Shepard tend to kind of make their climb through the field together as tradition in this series. So he may be a second and a half behind, but, well, he's kind of carrying it on.
Some of that was just how much he got caught behind, but it looks like, as far as the question I had was how fast is he going to catch Brian Dean? Well, Brian Dean's out there putting down lap times that are anywhere, sometimes almost well, it was a minute ago, almost a half second slower, but it's kind of now just about a tenth. Oh, we got a caution on the speedway.
When it's multiple cars, Mike Allen is involved. I see Robbie Robinson and poor Bruce Pearson, who's already missing his spare car, found himself in the wall.
Oh, it actually looks like it got clicked off when Bruce Pearson got into Mike Allen. It wasn't a lot, just a very slight touch.
Yeah, 4 cars actually involved. Jeff Harden made contact. Austin Belkey is going to be the last one. He's in that Jeff Gordon painted livery. He'd be a great onboard because this is incredible heads up from the 24. He woes it up in time. He doesn't panic. He just waits for kind of everything's to sort itself out, and as soon as cars start to split, he peels on through.
I mean, yeah, I don't think, he didn't even get a scratch here in that.
So that moves him up to 15th from the incident. As Pearson stays out. In fact, I think we've got 2 cars heading in down towards Jeff. Who do you see strolling in there towards you?
It looks like we got Robbie Robinson and Mike Allen coming in right now. Looks like the damage on Mike Allen might be a little bit more significant. Robbie Robinson looks like it's just to the rear end. He may be able to continue.
See that Allen looks like, I don't think he has a spare car because he was in there for a little bit. Same thing with Robinson. Yeah, both of them return with damage on the cars, but they're going to stay on the lead lap. And Pearson now comes in too.
So that's a caution I think the likes of J.R. Shepard might have actually wanted to see, just because.
That's a good point.
You know, now that whole 5-second lead or so that lead pack had on them is gone. I mean, so now he's right to the back bumper of Brian Dean, who is in turn right to the back bumper back to Mike Holloway. So this could get interesting here as he has to get through these 4 guys that when we went to yellow, he was actually pretty comparable on pace with.
If you don't know this, no pressure here, Adam. Jeff, you can weigh in if you know. One thing we talk about on Real Tires a lot is heat cycles. Now, do you know if they've been able to kind of make that a thing here in the new version 7 tire model?
You know, that is a good question that I do not have the answer to, that I need to find out.
I've run the V7 model quite a bit, and it seems like if you get them hot, you get a 10, 12 lap run, and then you just get on it right off the jump, you're going to spin every single time. You just going into one is an absolute nightmare on cold tires.
Something that we'll need to watch for on these restarts. This will only be our 3rd. Thanks for cluing us in there, Jeff. That was Jeff Smith, our pit reporter, making sure that us plebs here, Adam, know what's going on down on track.
Yeah, apparently I've been calling too many races lately, not racing enough.
Tell me the story of my life on iRacing. All right, we're going to get going here on lap 48. And James Lowe has control of the field for the first time. Green flag is out. Great jump there for the 99. Speidel down in second. Already jumps onto the low line. Holloway able to hold low as well. The number 23 trying to find a spot, but there's J.R. Shepard wasting no time to get another position.
Yeah, wasn't able to just dispose of Brian Dean right away, but he is now clear of him. Donnie Moore, though, he's the one that stuck up there on the high side and in traffic. He's going to have some issues getting by those guys. He was right on the back bumper at J.R. Shepard. Now you can see what kind of gap it is between them.
As we come onto the front stretch, looks like Moore gets quite a bit of the wall there, and that's going to allow Liston as well as Shinosky and Menda to get through.
Yeah, we talked about the sticky wall syndrome, what I like to call it. That just struck for the first time here tonight, and Donnie Moore ended up being a victim of that. Tim Shinosky kind of pushed him out of it, though, but he is still hung on the outside, can't do anything.
Watching Brian Dean now in the number 23. This is where the cars get pretty clogged up. Up at the front, it's spread out a fair bit. It's being led by J.R. Shepard in this group. Lowell Jewell behind him. Then you've got Dean, who we ride on board with. As they come off of 4, Dean looking strong there, but just not very long straightaways around this track.
No, there's not. And, you know, J.R. Shepard, though, his lap times are actually slower, even in clean air, than the top 3 right now. And I got to think that, you know, even though this is a short track and everything, you know, we don't really talk about aerodynamics and all that here, you're still running speeds going into the corner of about 115, 120 miles an hour. So I have to think that front end damage on him right now is playing a role in how that car is handling on corner entry and possibly being what's scrubbing off speed for him.
We continue to watch Dean here, just behind Lowell Jewell. Shepard certainly not scampering away like we're used to seeing, so maybe the effects of that damage, like you're saying, finally affecting him. Gonna watch Shepard here, the number 98. Get a closer look to see exactly how that car is handling. Oh, actually, we need to go behind him because the 23 gets to the inside of Lowell Jewell. The boss, unfortunately, put offline, and that has been the death knell most of this night.
It has. We just need to forget the comment that I made earlier about if that high line was going to come in, because the answer has become no, an emphatic no. As Lowell Jewell now, he got stuck on the high side. He's probably going to end up falling all the way back to 9th before he's able to cut back inside.
Yeah, currently to his inside, that's Matt Shinosky, followed by his brother Tim Shinosky. So both the Shinoskys, unfortunately, looking to try and demote the number 19. He's holding on as well as he can. I don't know how long he can manage this, though. Oh, as he found a spot, he can maybe cover off Tim, and he does. Up to lap 60 now here in this race, so we're well past halfway. Things are very quickly going by. Despite 2 early cautions, we've only had 1 since, and I'd say the drivers are getting a handle on this car pretty well this season.
Yeah, it's been putting on a great show, and you know, the incidents that we have seen, it hasn't been like, you know, really, it's just been short track racing kind of stuff. So that's a good show. I mean, a lot of people were worried about them switching to the K&N car here for this season, but it's working out like a dream, I think, so far.
Let's go to the 23 because he had a big bobble out of 4, and the car of Menda is not going to wait around. He gets to the inside, and you could see how eager drivers are to try and capitalize on any opportunity. Now Matt Shinosky in the double aught gets below him. Just behind there, you can see the 19 of Jewell was under attack from Tim Shinosky briefly, but that settles out in Jewell's favor. 23 still clinging to try and keep that 6th position. I don't know if it's going to work out well, though. The double O is well beyond, and now he's fully clear.
Oh, in fact, Brian Dean Lowell Jewell almost got into him. Lowell Jewell had to back out of it to avoid the contact, and of course that in turn backed up Tim Shinosky just a little bit, but thankfully everybody able to miss out on hitting each other there.
All this battling in this little group that we're seeing has been a boon to J.R. Shepard. He's slowly running down Holloway, but he's really been able to not look behind himself anymore because he's stretched to about 1.5 seconds ahead of Menda. We ride on board with Tim Shinosky there in 9th place.
Yeah, all 4 of those guys at the front of the field, from Lowe, Speidel, Holloway, and Shepard, all running nearly equal lap times over the last 10 laps.
Yeah, as we've been watching back here, Jeff, with no one in the pits, has really been able to keep his eyes on the race. What's happening up front there, Jeff?
It looks like all the battling in the back there is letting James Lowe just check out. He's got about a second lead on Brad Speidel right now, and he is just taking off. it's going to be hard without a caution to pick that back up. The battles are just awesome.
Yeah, Speidel, though he's got Holloway within about half a second here, is not immediately under threat. Looks like Lowell Joel just lost out to Tim Szymanski.
Actually, he lost out because Tim Szymanski, you know, he didn't really have much of a choice there, but he gave him a little bit of the chrome horn to move him out of the way just a touch. I think he slowed down a little bit more than he intended.
Let's take a look at the replay. This is the number 19 that we're looking for. So we've switched over to Todd Liston here on the replay. There he is. Yeah, this is going to happen in turn 4. I almost think, though, that this might be net code. Let's watch here. Yeah, I think that was a little net code if there was contact.
Yeah, but either way, Lowell Joel's car, he probably felt like there was, so he falls back just a little bit here. So, and that actually, that's key because that moves him out of 8th place, and of course that prevents him from possibly starting on the pole next race unless he's able to get back up to Szymanski.
Going up to Mike Holloway for that second spot, he's cut it down a little bit. It was 0.5 of a second. It was down to 0.3 briefly. It's kicked back up to 4. We've only got a quarter of the race left to go, though, so he's got to start hustling and putting some more pressure on Brad.
Yeah, listen to these lap times last time by. James Lowe ran a 17.402. Speidel was a 3.83. Holloway was a 3.60, and Shepard was a 4.57. All those guys within 1/10 of a second on lap times. So,
and Jason Menda, who unfortunately managed to get ahead of Szymanski, or ahead of rather Brian Dean earlier, has now got Szymanski behind him. And the 00 has had a ton of speed lately. He is all over that rear spoiler. Come down the backstretch and into 3.
Mendes just one slight bobble from losing that spot here.
Absolutely. I really feel like Szymanski may have been saving a bit of his stuff here because he's been a rocket ship here at the end. So he continues to poke and prod to see if he can get by the 45. He looks to the inside. He's got a good shot here. And he tries to get his nose in. He's given space down on the low side. I think that was a little too generous maybe from Menda.
I think that was a good play. And actually, I think here he's probably going to let him go the rest of the way. At least I would. And then cut down before Brian Dean's able to catch back up. I think that was strategic. You know, he realized he's probably not going to be able to hang on to that spot. I don't want to lose any more. So let me make this move before Dean is able to capitalize on it. Because if Dean capitalizes on it, well, then Tim Szymanski's going to be right there too.
All right, we've got Matt Szymanski in clean air. I'm curious to see how he compares to those ahead of him now that he's got no car holding him up.
He fell back. Oh, he got into the wall there on the backstretch.
Let's take a look at the replay of the 98. And we talked about the tires potentially going away quicker due to the damage. And I'd say that car's not handling ideally.
Yeah, so now we'll see what. Man, I think he's going to fall back into the clutches here of Matt Szymanski because that was not a soft hit on the wall there. And all that bodywork was already peeled away from that right front. So that right front made contact with the wall.
I'm surprised you didn't pull out your favorite phrase. That looked like a hospital wobble to me.
You know, I gotta mix it up every once in a while.
Oh, and Holloway has now definitely caught Speidel. If we head up to second place, he is 0.2 behind and is very much trying to see if he can squeeze this position out of the number 5. So, and although we've had a long green flag run here in the 31, looking a little bit similar to what we saw with J.R. Shepard, with little wiggles here and there. See if this one's a little smoother coming off of 4.
Its Speidel hit the apron just ever so much, and Actually, I honestly think Holloway had to just kind of go back out of it just a touch. But now Speidel looking running a little bit higher. Not sure Holloway's gonna be able to do anything with it there. Holloway getting real close.
Ooh, Holloway was tucked right down to the line, trying to get that car as low as possible. He certainly seems to be a little bit tighter through the corner than the 5.
And then behind these guys, J.R. Shepard has been caught by Matt Shinosky. Matt Shinosky has him on the inside, working to try to complete that pass right now.
And I think he's got it done. Wow. What a difference a week makes. And of course, I mean, we should take into account that the 98 was compromised by a wreck on the very first lap, but going from leading nearly every lap, I think he did lead every lap.
Loose on the front straightaway, he's trying to save it. Saves the car, but loses the position. He was wheeling that the entire length of the front straightaway.
Let's look at the replay here. Holloway was waiting for this opportunity. Look at that car slide. Wow. Good catch from the 5. Of course, now he's got to handle a car that's probably on some very angry tires.
Yeah, that was about 5 good catches there. If you say from going to the inside wall about 3 times, the outside wall at least twice. They know, and now Tim Shinosky is back there, and he's hunting him down. Shinosky's on a just tear. I think I know who saved some tires here for the end.
I believe that's Matt Shinosky, actually, that's gaining up to him on the double I.
Tim's
running.
Sorry.
Yeah. Got 2 of them out here. And Tim, for his fans, he is down in 8th position right now. Not faring too badly, especially considering he will get the pole if he finishes there for next week. Driver we haven't talked about a whole lot, James Lowe in the number 99 with 10 laps to go. 9 laps to go, I should say now, has got this thing under control. He's got a little bit of lap traffic in the form of Todd Liston, but man, he's under no threat.
No, that Holloway Speidel battle, that really let him go. And look at Matt Shinosky, you're not going to do that again, taking Speidel on the outside.
Wow. Something's got to be wrong with Speidel. Either he really cooked those tires on that slide, or he's got some sort of damage, because that's 2 spots in very quick succession. Sends him all the way to 4th from 2nd place. Now, is J.R. Shepard just as damaged? Poor J.R. Shepard.
And it also helps the fact that Matt Shinosky has been the fastest car on the racetrack the last probably 10 or so laps. He's
true,
just
too.
flying out there right now.
J.R. Shepard's got a lot of pressure right now. He's got a couple cars, and we know how damaged he is. Menda and Dean could make short work of him if he gets one mistake. Thankfully, the laps are not too many left to go, so if you can keep the mistakes down for at least 5 laps, then he should be able to see the checkered flag and finally call this one over.
Hey, Joe, I think Shinosky's going to have at least a shot at Holloway before this thing's over.
I think you're right. He's got it down to 0.6 of a second and coming on fast.
He needs about 3 more laps to catch him. Maybe not even that, but he's catching him right now at about 0.2 a lap.
Creeps up to the back of the 31. Catching's one thing, passing is another. They come down to 3 laps to go now. And he's got it down to 0.3 of a second on Holloway.
Holloway's kicked it back up a notch. He's still not nearly as fast as Shinosky, but he cut it down to where his difference is about 0.1 a lap now.
He's got anything left in those tires. Now's the time to use them, because there's no point of keeping anything left in the tank come the end of this race, which is coming very soon, because the 99 just took the white flag. James Lowe, ever since he got into the lead, has not looked back. He hasn't had a challenge from our regular front runners, but this is still a well-earned victory. Around 3 and 4. James Lowe is going to win round number 2 here in the Grand National Series. Holloway manages to hold off Shinosky for a 2nd place, with Matt Shinosky rounding out the podium. Speidel falls to 4th. Damage limitation for J.R. Shepard. Amazing that he even got that 5th.
Yeah, I really started to fall away from him there at the end, but You know, there's a lot of guys out there that kind of started to fall away there at the end. But hey, really nice green flag run to end that thing after just a spate of early cautions.
Yeah, great stuff there at the end. Only 12 drivers on the lead lap, but we're going to take a quick break here among the fireworks and the celebratory donuts. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around. Welcome back to Five Flags Speedway here in Pensacola, Florida, and James Lowe is your winner here in the second round ever for the Grand National Series here in the Bootleg Racing League presented by the Cruise Shop. Holloway followed him home, and boy, did he have some pressure at the end. Matt Shanoski, who started from 18th, this makes that run all the more impressive, held onto his tires and just was flying at the end. He got up to third, had a shot at second, but just ran out of laps. Brad Speidel had the opposite problems. He ran at the tires and wound up falling to fourth after sitting in second for much of this race. J.R. Shepard was caught up in the very first caution, which happened right across the start-finish line under green. He wound up having to deal with that damaged car. He never came in for repairs and still survived to fifth place. Jason Menda with a sixth, starting from 15th. Very good job from him. Brian Dean finished 7th, and Tim Shanoski finished in P8. The boss, Lowell Jewell, will be the first one not regrid. Tim will be on the pole next week, and Jeffrey Harden rounds out your top 10.
Yeah, going to 11th position tonight is Robbie Robinson. Austin Belke will come home in 12th, last car in the lead lap. Donnie Moore, one lap down, showed some speed early, but ended up having contact with the wall and was kind of a little bit slower off from there. Todd Lisson, Joe Segala, Ruben Altice, Mike Allen, Bruce Pearson round out the field.
Got our winner ready to talk to us. James Lowe joins us here. And James, you had to fight to the front early on, but then it seemed like you had pretty good control of the race once you were up there in the lead. Were you at any point scared about keeping your tires underneath you? Did you feel here in the second week already that you got a good idea of how to pace yourself on those?
Well, once I got up front there, I was able to, I was letting off at the start-finish line and halfway down the backstretch during every lap trying to save tires, and I was still pulling away, so I stuck to that pretty much the whole race. And then with about 20 to go, I punched it a little bit to pull away a little bit, but other than that, it was a pretty clean race, and I got lucky there at the beginning. JR got caught up in that mess at the beginning. So I think it would have been a good battle if he wouldn't have got caught up in that.
Yeah, it certainly did kind of take him out of the equation a little bit for you. But next week, it's going to be a whole different ball game, of course, because you're going to be regrid at worst as eighth position. Now that you've got some experience on these tires, how do you feel about trying to climb through and save them for the end? Do you feel like that's doable, or is this even tougher on the new tire model version?
Well, Myrtle Beach might be might be a little different. It's really tight off four. So we'll have to see how it goes there, but just stay patient and work your way through the field, and maybe JR lead me up through there, or somebody will lead me up through there, and I can take advantage of some situations. But other than that, we'll just see how it goes.
Awesome stuff. It's been two drastically different tracks. You mentioned Myrtle Beach coming up next. Is there any bogey track throughout the season that you're kind of worried about here in these cars?
Um, Anytime you go to the little shorter tracks like Lanier or places like that, it's probably gonna be crazy. So just try to get the wins out of the way and build up a little points gap early and see how it goes for the rest of the year.
Obviously, you already got your eyes ahead. Even mentioning the championship, congratulations. Would you like to thank anybody for the win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the cruise shop and Lil Jewel for putting all this on. It's a great series, and these Grand Nationals are proven to be a good switch, I believe, in my opinion. So other than that, and you guys for broadcasting.
But I think I have to agree that I've been really enjoying these K&N cars. Meanwhile, Mike Holloway has joined Adam Young here in the booth to talk about his race.
Mike, pretty exciting race out there overall through the field, but I have to say, out of everybody in the top 10, once you got clear of that lap one accident, you probably had the most smooth sailing out of everybody.
Yeah, it was a nice, quiet race for me. And getting past that lap one accident probably got me the podium finish without doubt, because I mean it got JR and a lot of the big names. So, but I was definitely sweating bullets on that one. When it worked out all right, I kind of smooth sailing from there.
Now, how were your tires feeling at the end of that thing? Because Matt Chnosky, he started catching you pretty good there at the end. We figured that they started going away on you.
Yeah, they felt pretty good there first 3/4 of the race, and then I got up there when I really started battling with Brad there. I think I used him up a little bit more than I probably needed to. Ended up getting the second place anyways after he got a little loose there. And once I saw Matt get around Brad, I kind of started sweating bullets because he ran me down pretty quick. So they were going away in a hurry for sure.
Well, good deal. And of course, next week, go to Myrtle Beach, which, entirely different track than what you had last week at Thompson, entirely different track than what you had tonight at Five Flags. How do you think you're going to be able to do there?
I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Myrtle Beach has been pretty good to me. If I can keep it out of trouble, I think I'll do all right.
All right. Well, hey, Mike, thanks for joining us here tonight. And hopefully we get a chance to talk to you next week as well.
All right. Appreciate it, guys.
That was second place finisher Mike Holloway coming from eighth, and Matt Chnosky went from 18th to third. Jeff has caught up with him down on pit lane.
Hey Matt, nice finish coming from 18th to third. How did the car feel there at the end, having to work through all that traffic?
Well, I must have had better tires than everyone at the end because I felt like Superman coming up through the field there. That was my first time on running on that tire model, so I guess I just got lucky there.
Yeah, that tire model is fun. Hey, you chased down Mike Holloway there. If you had another lap or so, you feel like you could have caught him, or you could have passed him?
Yeah, another lap or two, I think I would have got him and got second place, but that's all right. 18th to third, I'm thrilled with that.
Yeah, podium finish after finishing 18th is absolutely awesome. Hey, is there anybody that you'd like to thank there?
I just want to thank Lowell and all the racers here at Bootleg, and obviously just want to thank the cruise shop for sponsoring our league, and of course GSRC for you guys put on the great broadcasts.
Hey man, we appreciate you. Good luck next week at Myrtle Beach.
All right, thank you.
That was Matt Chinosky, third place finisher. So apparently he is a natural here with those tires. We're going to close up, though, before we go. We want to thank our sponsor, of course, the Crew Shop. If you want to check them out, you can find information on their phone line. That's 260-755-6125, or on their website, thecrewshopfw.com. Big thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for bringing us back for another season of coverage, this time for the Grand National League. And of course, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast, listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, Dougie, and of course to Jeff, our pit reporter. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media on Twitter. That'll be, Twitter is at GSR Channel. Facebook is Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, go check out our merchandise store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well, so that you don't miss a moment here on GSRC. The next race, as we mentioned, just hops on over to Myrtle Beach. That'll be Saturday, January 18th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. Until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.